up, guys? It's Graphic Phoenix back with another video today.
And today we're filming a video about reptile supplies and what you're going to need. Everything you see here is what I use on a very regular basis to look after all my reptiles. Going through them very quickly, we have a thermometer, hygrometer, we have vinegar, alcohol, rubbing alcohol that is, basking lamp, a shaker cup, water cup, some Dixie cups, a calcium, obviously my knife or one of them. We also have a pipette, a razor, measuring spoons, a poop spoon, scissors, as well as a couple different tweezers. And if you can see over there, we have a mister. So basically the reason why I have vinegar is because it works very well for removing any of the hard water stains because it's acidic and it basically like dissolves any carbonates or anything like that that gets stuck on the walls due to misting. So this is definitely a valuable thing to have. Right now it's pretty much empty, but I use it a lot. The rubbing alcohol is very good for disinfecting things, whether that's like knife blades, scissors, anything like that, it works well for. And especially for like preparing your plants for putting into a reptile cage, it works perfectly. If you go check out yesterday's video, there is a how to prepare plants for your reptile cage, and I strongly suggest you look at that. That's where I use this the most. Moving down the line, we have an extra heat bulb. These are very, very useful to have, especially if you have a chameleon or anything like that. When you're misting, some of the water hits the bulb and occasionally they actually explode, and rather than having to go out and get a new one, you can just be like, okay, well, throw them in there and bam, you're done. Like it's super easy. It makes life very easy when you're stuck in a grind, especially if it happens at night and your pet store's closed or something like that. It's happened to me many times. That's why I keep it on hand. The shaker cup is a very important part of reptile keeping. This is how I dust my crickets each and every day with this calcium, the Reptile without D3. It's important to have without D3. It just makes life really easy. Rather than going to your local pet store and buying that stupid shaker cup that they have for like $20, you can just use some yogurt, in this case is sour cream, and clean it out, rinse it out, and then use it as a calcium shaker. Water cup, I don't really know how in depth I have to be because, I mean, it's for water. You fill up their water bowls with. The calcium I kind of went over. This is without D3, and you want to be dusting this every feeding. That's what I do for mine. The reason why you want without D3 is because if you feed them D3 each and every day,
You can't cut that part.
that was my girlfriend. The reason why you want to have without D3 is because with too much D3, they basically have too much D3 in their system and they can't process it. So that's why you only want to dust with D3 for 1 to 2 times a month. This is also enriched with minerals, so I don't use any like vitamins or anything like that. This is calcium and minerals. Dixie cups are very important to have simply because that's what I use for my crested gecko, and you need to have a bunch of them on hand because, I mean, you're feeding them. Tongs are a super important part of...
Are you sure they're not called thongs?
Tongs are a super important part of reptile keeping because I feed pretty much all my reptiles with these, especially like striker and tig and everything. They are super important to have and very useful. The next up is scissors. These are more or less for plant keeping. Like these are actually Fiskars, like trimming. Yeah, Fiskars. They're very sharp, very useful for trimming plants, especially if you have any live plants in your tanks, or in my case, just growing plants. They are pretty much a need. You don't need specifically like plant trimming scissors, but they're nice to have just because they have a really thin nose and they can cut stuff really easily. They're very sharp. Poop spoon. This is very useful for taking out poop whenever I find it in like Sheldon's cage and Striker's cage because you just reach in there, scoop it out, and throw it away. Not much else other than that. This is just a typical like house spoon. Measuring spoons are also very useful because this is how I use the Repashy superfood and Pangea gecko diet for the Tigmeister. This happens to be a half tablespoon. This is actually what I use every time I make her food for the couple days. So these are very nice to have. That way you know exactly how much you're putting in and how much water to add as well. razors. Now, these are just a typical razor, obviously, that has been used. You can buy a big pack of them at Walmart. These are used for cleaning my glass cages. I can't clean my acrylic cage with this, but it's very useful for cleaning the glass cages because you just scrape down the sides and it takes off all the carbonates without having to work all that hard. Like I did Sky's cage, which is a 75-gallon, with just this little razor blade, and it doesn't take all that long. The pipette is useful for giving water to your chameleons, or in my case, I use it for the prime that I add to their water before I screw it up. Before I end up screwing the lid on and using it for the actual misting system. This is how I take out chlorines and chloramines and stuff. You don't really have to do that, but I feel like it's beneficial, so I do it. A knife, they're useful to have in general. This is just for cutting stuff open. This happens to be a CRKT, and yeah, it's sharp. It's nice. As I mentioned earlier, this is the hygrometer thermometer. It is just digital. It's kind of inconvenient with that backing because it falls out all the time, but it gives you a nice clean reading of what exactly it is in the room, so you can see that my room temperature and humidity is pretty good, actually. They're useful especially whenever you have a lot of reptiles, because you can say, hey, my ambient room temperature is already at 76. I don't really need a super hot basking bulb, just enough to make that area. And the humidity is nice to have because you can say, hey, I need to mist this time and this time. That's when it starts to drop. So definitely recommend picking one of these up. I think on Amazon this was $9 or something like that with free shipping, so can't complain. Last but not least, we have my giant mister. This kind of puts in perspective how big it really is. It's more than a gallon. It's probably 2 gallons because that's 4 liters right there. So probably about a 2-gallon mister, and that lasts me about a week, maybe 5 days. In an average day, if I mist them a couple times a day, that's how long it lasts. So I strongly recommend picking up a really good mister like this one, just because those crappy ones they sell you at a pet store will not last. I've gone through 3 or 4 of them before I just decided to spend the 20 bucks and buy this one, because really they're not that much cheaper. There's $15, $16 at a pet store for smaller than this, and also a lot less durable. This one I picked up at Rona. You can probably find them at Lowe's, Home Depot, anything like that, in their gardening area. This happens to me at Gilmore. So that wraps up all the utensils that I strongly recommend for keeping reptiles. Keep in mind, I have 9 of them, or 8 of them, and you might not need quite as many as this, but all of these are definitely nice to have, especially, I figured this would help some people. I know there was a video recommendation for it earlier in the month, and my girlfriend also said, hey, that'd be a good idea, so, you gotta listen, right? I hope you guys enjoyed May 24th, the 24th video of May Madness, and it's coming to a close. I know I said this last time, but I hope everybody's really enjoying this, and will stick around to the channel even when I'm not making a video every day. Honestly, I might do it again another month in the future, but I'm not saying anything about that. I have no idea. I really haven't thought about it. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like down below. And if you made it this far, leave the word lucky in the comments down below. That has a certain meaning to me. You guys, you'll figure it out. As well as comment in the comment section down below if you have any questions, comments, concerns, questions about, hey, do I need this, if I have this, anything like that, I will answer them. You guys know that I answer pretty much every comment. And subscribe to my channel for the end of May Madness. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Graphic Phoenix, out of here.
Bye.